Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about a part of CUT that students usually underestimate until it start costing them marks. I started my GT session around 8 p.m. today. Instead of rushing straight into studying, I first made a to-do list because GT needs direction more than speed. I divided my preparation into quant, reasoning and static GK so that no section remained untouched. I choose to begin with quant even though it is mentally demanding, but delaying it only increases pressure as the exam approaches. This session was not about doing everything in one day but about preparing GT with clarity and seriousness. I begin my GT preparation with number system and simplification because this chapter builds the foundation for almost everything that follows. I first opened my ebook and carefully went through the theory since rushing into questions without conceptual clarity only creates confusion later. After completing the theory, I moved on to the recorded lectures which had been completed live a couple of days earlier. There were 4 lectures, each close to an hour, and although I was watching them late, I knew understanding them properly mattered more than watching them on time. So I started with the first lecture and focused on grasping the basic without skipping steps. There were 4 lectures in total, and together they added up to almost 4 hours of content. Instead of breaking them across multiple days, I decided to complete them one by one in a single sitting. I watched the lectures at 1.5x speed not to skip understanding but to maintain focus and avoid mental fatigue. Quant is extremely important in the GT section of CUET because it does not check whether you know formulas but whether you can apply them accurately under time pressure. This section often becomes the deciding factor because even a few extra correct answers can make a noticeable difference in your overall score. While studying, I kept reminding myself that every concept understood today reduces stress closer to the exam. By staying attentive and not cutting corners, I was able to complete all 4 lectures by around 11 p.m. It was lengthy, but it felt satisfying to end the day knowing that my quant foundation had become a little stronger. By around 11, I had completed all 4 lectures and the learning process felt complete rather than rushed. As the lecture progressed, I solved the question that Amit sir discussed during the session, which helped me stay mentally involved instead of just watching the content pass by. This method allowed concept and application to develop together, making the study session far more effective and meaningful. After finishing the lectures, I felt that stopping there would not be enough, so I opened my ebook and continued practicing additional questions from the same chapter, solving them patiently and one at a time. There were many questions, but in CUT, this kind of practice is what sharpens accuracy and builds the confidence needed to handle pressure in the exam hall. Lecture provide direction, but it is consistent question practice that truly prepares you for the test. By the time I completed all the question, it was around 11:50 p.m. That was the moment I finally checked off the first section of my to-do list, which was Quant, along with its practice question. It felt satisfying because progress in competitive exam is often quiet, but it is built through moments like this. After completing the first section of my to-do list, I moved on to the next one, which was static GK. For this part, I refer to my general awareness ebook and begin with the general studies section. Static GK is extremely vast and everyone preparing for CUT knows how easy it is to feel overwhelmed by it. Instead of trying to cover everything, I made a conscious decision to study only 10 pages starting from the very beginning. I focused on reading carefully and actually learning the information rather than rushing just to tick pages off. Static GK plays a very important role in GT section because these are direct scoring questions that depend more on consistency than logic. Regular exposure to general awareness slowly builds familiarity, which makes revision easier closer to the exam. This session was not about finishing the syllabus but about building a habit of steady and mindful learning. Giving daily time to general awareness is extremely important because this part improves only through consistency. With that approach, I was able to complete my static GK section by around 1 a.m. and by then I had already studied for almost 5 hours. Finishing the second section of my to-do list felt reassuring because it reminded me that steady efforts matters more than rushing. After that, I moved on to the third section, which was reasoning. I decided to start with analogy since it helps build logical connection and sharpens thinking. I first focused on the theory, carefully reading and understanding the different types of analogies. Instead of memorizing patterns, I tried to understand how relationships are formed because that is what actually helps during the exam. This session reminded me that the clarity in basic is what slowly turns preparation into confidence. After completing the analogy section, I moved on to the non-verbal reasoning, a part that I had been planning to work on for quite some time. It was around 1:30 a.m. when I started, but I felt this was the right moment to finally address it. There were 3 lectures in total, each close to 40 minutes, and I decided to complete them one by one in the same session. I watched the lectures at 1.5x speed, not to hurry, but to stay focused and mentally engaged throughout. Reasoning plays a very important role in the GT section of CUT because it tests how well you can think, analyze, and respond under pressure. This section often rewards clarity more than prior knowledge, which makes consistent practice extremely valuable. By completing all 3 lectures patiently, I felt more confident about tackling this part, knowing that strengthening reasoning directly strengthens overall GT performance. By the time I finished the non-verbal reasoning section, my iPad battery was down to 3% and the clock showed 2:10 a.m. That moment felt symbolic because with that last bit of energy, I had completed the third section of my to-do list, which was reasoning along with practice questions. Everything I planned at the beginning of the session was finally done. This entire GT session took around 6 hours and 12 minutes, and it felt satisfying to end the day knowing the effort was honest and focused. Some study days are not loud or dramatic, but they matter the most. That's it for today. If this video helped or motivated you in any way, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care and keep showing up.